Here we go. Let's connect it up. Yeah. Fear the Walking Dead. Live stream. Let's talk about it. We'll wait till we connect and everybody gets, lag time with YouTube and stuff here. So we'll just wait for that a little bit. But today is May 9th, 2021, of course. Coming at you for the live stream of live streams. No, just a regular live stream to talk about Fear the Walking Dead universe, whatever you want to talk about in there too. So what's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, my fighters? I'm One Eyebrow, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about the Walking Dead universe. Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 is still killing it, still pretty good. A couple stuff, they kind of do what they do with some campiness, wonkiness, just far-fetchedness. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but overall, much improved. Season 6 has definitely been really good. In my opinion, some people love it. Some people like Fear the Walking Dead better than Walking Dead. Some people liked previous seasons versus this season. But overall, it's entertaining. We got some news for you. We're talking about some videos that I made that I want to post, that I want to share. We'll talk about all the stuff with the new episode titles, the synopses. And guys, so thank you guys for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also want to say a big shout out to all the moms in the world, right? So if you're a mom, happy Mother's Day. If you have a mom, a mother-in-law, someone you look up to, and you're celebrating Mother's Day, I'm going to give my mom a text and a call, talk to my in-law mother, and so I won't see anybody here because we live in greater distance from the family and everything. But ultimately, happy Mother's Day. Sometimes these holidays are sad because your mom's not around, or you have that, and sometimes it's great. And so hopefully it's a good occasion that you get to see your mom. I was going to bring up the question in a poll question, but I was like, I'll just save it for the live stream, right? So you can always ask the question in the Walking Dead universe, what's the best mom? Who's the best mom, right? Now we're going to ask, who's the worst mom on the Walking Dead, in the Walking Dead universe? So it could be World Beyond, Fear the Walking Dead, anything you want to think of. Who's the worst mom in the Walking Dead universe? And my initial thought is Lori. I'm like, Lori Grimes, terrible. But is it Lori or is it Alpha? Is Alpha the worst mom there is? I mean, she's pretty bad, right? I mean, look at Lydia, look at the Whispers, look at everything. You're like, who's really bad in their opinion? Alpha, Lori, I think, are the ones that are like, yeah, they're pretty much the worst. Elizabeth Kublik, that's definitely one that you're like, she's pretty bad too, right? With Huck and just, I don't know. It's like, what makes the worst mom category? What would you say? But I think that you can definitely say the best moms are, Michonne, Maggie, Jesse, Rosita. Like who is there that there's like the best is debatable. And then you start thinking about it. Okay, there's more moms that you think about in the Walking Dead universe, which is, Deanna. Who's Deanna, right? So it's just a fun debate, discussion. There's really no right or wrong answer. But to me, I think the worst moms category has to be Alpha or Lori. And like I said before, I'm like, Lori. Lori's terrible. Lori's the worst. Definitely Lori is one of the top 10 worst characters. Alpha is supposed to be a bad character. She's a villain. I don't think Lori was really designed to be a villain. They would say Shane is the villain versus Lori. But, it's a fun discussion. And the big question, too, is, like Donnie T says, Carol. Where do you really rank Carol in the mom category? Good, bad? It's kind of the debate. Like, is she not that great? Is she a good mom? Is she not? I don't know. I mean, Carol's a great character, but she doesn't have the best track record with her kids. I mean, look at Sophia, look at Henry. I'll have to watch out with Lydia and anybody else that comes along there too. So, but I don't know. It's just a fun discussion, debate about it as it's for Mother's Day. So we're going to talk about Season 6, Episode 12 in the last half hour. And I don't know if it's by design or by chance or by luck or by coincidence. But if you saw the episode, you know what I'm talking about for Mother's Day, right? So we'll talk about that in the last half hour. But last week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead, The Holding. So that's what the end is the beginning their location that we saw. Teddy, Riley, the Blue Man group or the Blue People group, because there's men and women there too. You got to see more of them. People got away. They're building things for a CRM connection reunion with hopefully Isabel and Althea. You got to see stuff there and you're like, okay, kind of a good episode. We got to see how it goes down. What's going to happen with Teddy and Alicia. They left us there wondering what's going to happen with these characters. And there's a lot of good questions left. And it's only, season 6, episode 11. And we got episode 12 this week. So we got 12 this week, 13, and then 14. Because I believe Memorial Day weekend, that Sunday, the 30th, is going to be moved to the following week because Memorial Day weekend, probably the holiday, they're probably not going to keep it there. So it would be, they have it 16th. So tonight's episode, 16th, 23rd. So it's 11, 12, 13. And then you have 14, 15, and 16. So it's going to be definitely pretty interesting for everybody to be watching into June. Not sure what's going to happen with everybody because it's going to be waiting and see, but the spoilers for the synopsis are definitely there. The episode titles. I made 2 videos already, but they're going to sound kind of like out of order of the video that I just posted this morning about episode 614, Mother. So I don't know where it is with it's going to kind of make sense, but not if you're up to date of the videos. If you're not watching them in order, it probably doesn't really matter. But so we highlighted Alicia in 614 because of the episode title is titled Mother. And it's got a lot of people wondering about Alicia's mom, Madison, because there's been a lot of talk. Is she coming? That's like every season since season 4. Is she coming back? How is she going to come back? When is she coming back? Could she come back? Did she really die? Did she not? Are the showrunners going to bring her back? Do they have, money to bring her back? Does it make sense for the story? Who cares? They just want the character to come back. I don't know. So, but if you want to check out more about that, about 614, that's an episode coming up in a couple weeks. So I'm excited to see where it goes with that. I personally don't think Madison's going to come back, but never say never. We didn't see a body. All those things they love to say. Wilson says, do you think Fear the Walking Dead will explain the sub? Like, where did all the water go? Subs need deep water. So, Wilson, I do think so that they're going to talk about the submarine in the spinoff. I don't know if it's an episode or episodes or a mini series or web series or what it's actually going to be, but there's talk that we're going to see a Fear the Walking Dead spinoff called Deep Water that I assume is going to be talking about the submarine. They are around Galveston, Texas, which is on the water in Texas in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's where cruises are. So I would assume that the water dried up or went somewhere else or global warming or so. I don't know how it really is going to be explained, if it's going to be explained or not, because how did it come ashore like that? If you do a pan out, is it the cruise port? Is it right by the water? Did it get thrown by a hurricane? Like, who knows, right? How did it actually happen? We don't know. They'll probably just glance over that. I would assume that we're going to see the crew of the whatever it's called. I'm guessing it's going to be called the USS Pennsylvania because that's an episode title, and that's going to be a video that I'm going to post probably tomorrow or Tuesday. But it makes sense that some sort of natural disaster caused it to wreck into the land. And if it's in the land now, it's not going to go back into the water. But how did the crew get down? Did anybody survive? Was Teddy part of that crew? Was Riley part of that crew? Was the people at the holding part of that crew? They're all wearing blue. So, I think okay, is it part of that? Makes sense that they want to go to the submarine, missiles, nuclear weapons or nuclear missiles, whatever they're going to do, launch keys. Definitely plays a thing. And I do buy into the theory that they're going to launch the missiles from the submarine. But why would they just go to a military base? There's got to be several military bases in Texas around the area that they could go to. Probably filming, probably production, probably hinder that. You can't just go to a military base and start filming even though it would make more sense that they go to a military base and they go there for different weapons and different things, and maybe they find it, maybe they don't, maybe they talk about it. Sometimes it would just be good for us to have a little bit more of the story in depth, but they glance over things from time to time, and it really kind of is annoying for us as the fans. We're like, could you explain a little bit more stuff we want to explain about? Sometimes they go into more detail about stuff that really doesn't need more detail. Sometimes you want to know more stuff. But overall, it's something that will get explained later on this season. So season 6, episode 11, The Holding, was a pretty good episode last week with Alicia, Althea, Luciana, and Wes. And I saw a lot of correlation and connection and Easter eggs with The Walking Dead, because I still feel like Fear the Walking Dead season 6 is taking a lot of things from The Walking Dead. And I'll stand by, I'm not hating on that by any means. But I do think that it's going to be interesting to see the connections of the story if it's ever going to fully connect. But if you think about The Walking Dead coming over to Fear the Walking Dead, that's what we wanted, at least I wanted. I wanted that all along. If more is better, let's keep it that way, right? I didn't want The Walking Dead to have this spin-off show that was designed to never connect with the main show. If it wasn't designed to connect with it, call it something else. Don't put The Walking Dead in the title and then not have any connections with the main show. We were there to watch the show, the start of the zombie apocalypse, how it connects. This was in California, this was that, and then all of a sudden the first 3 seasons, and you're like, this show doesn't connect at all. There was no connecting point whatsoever, and they missed the boat, in my opinion. Then we got season 4, and they were like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to scrap everything from the first 3 seasons. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We're going to bring over Morgan. Then we're going to bring over Dwight. We're going to bring over Sherry. We're going to bring over characters from the Walking Dead show. We're going to bring it over here, connect the dots here, have some connecting points, what it kind of should have been all along. So I don't know if it was Kirkman or the original showrunner or whatever they want to do. And, they had some misses and some hits. But overall, we can agree, I think, that Fear the Walking Dead season 6 is pretty good, too. So I like the idea of the universe connecting. We all want the main show to connect with the spinoffs and with Rick and everything in some way, shape, or form. Just the bigger connections, the better. But I don't ever see The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead having this big, massive connection with The Walking Dead. Like Lenny James said, Morgan doesn't ever plan to go back to Alexandria. Because if he did, Rick would be right. Because Rick said, you're going to come back. You'll be back. And Morgan's stubborn. What Morgan wants, Morgan gets. What Morgan wants, he's going to try and fight tooth and nail to get it. He's not going to care if he's going to bother other people doing it. He's going to do what he wants. And that's how the character is. He's butt heads with numerous people on the show, and it's kind of what it is too. So Sarah 96, I'll talk about that in the last half hour, but I do not. It's a dream state. Stuff doesn't happen that way, so I don't think so personally. But when dream sequences come on shows, they are open to interpretation. And the Walking Dead fandom is like, well, what about this? What about that? What about here? What about that? How does that connect with this? Rick. It's going to connect with Rick. Rick. Did it connect with Rick? How about Rick? Then it's going to connect with Rick. That has to connect with Rick, right? And we all want it to connect. But there's been no shape or form or reason or hint or anything to show us a connection with Rick. Besides Civic Republic, the CRM, the outfits, the pilots, the helicopters, Isabel. That's the only connection we have with outside of Fear the Walking Dead, but also Althea. Althea is probably the biggest connecting point with The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond potentially. And I think Althea is going to be the biggest connecting point with it because, one, Maggie Grace is really good friends with the showrunners, and she's probably planning, or hopefully they're planning to have some sort of connection with it, and I can see her being it. She's really the only one to really connect with the Civic Republic on Fear the Walking Dead. A little bit of Dwight because of her, but it just makes sense. Isabel's a helicopter pilot. She could find out some sort of connecting point or connection with Rick, other stuff, other communities, other areas. So it just makes sense too. So The Walking Dead, I haven't heard any recent news about filming. even though Jeffrey Dean Morgan was seen again in the area. I would assume he's living there with his wife and kids. So they're probably there going to be filming for into next year, which is interesting because he said they're going to be filming for 13 months. And I think other people confirmed that. So if you go from February, that's when they started filming this year. You go all the way to February, that's 12 months. So into March, next year is 13 months. So if they're going to film all the way till next March, which they'll probably take some time off for the holidays, so they're probably not going to film all the way through. And they'll probably have a break in the summer like they usually do. I'm not sure what the plan is for Comic-Con, but they're going to be filming this season, so all the way up to there. So I would assume it's going to be 3 parts, August, February, and either August or October. I would assume they're going to stretch it out and probably be in October, because if it's the final season, man, it's going to be, tough for the viewers to really think about the final season of it too. So, but all good things must come to an end, even though we're still going to have many more things after the main show ends. BG Logan 007 Q&A. I don't know if it's me, but I feel like they should have or should keep touching on Morgan's mental health. I think that makes the character. It's been a while since he's been in clear mode. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, he is definitely up and down, high and low. He's focused on what he wants to do. Either he wants to save everybody or he wants to clear everybody. Save everybody, clear everybody. Whatever it is, whatever he's doing is how it goes. Morgan's probably in the mode right now where he's not afraid of taking people out. Clear mode is still there. He took out Emil. He was going to save Virginia, take out Virginia, save Virginia. It's just like he's kind of whatever the story needs to be. And it's good and bad. It kind of hurts the continuity of the character because we kind of like certain aspects of characters the way they are. Like, he's this way. When he does this, she does this. Or she does this, he does that. And it's kind of like what we like to have in certain characters. We like to see them in a certain way for it. So, but I don't know. Morgan, I like Morgan. I like Lenny James. I don't think Morgan is hurting Fear the Walking Dead. I think he's actually helping the show. And we're going to have to see where it's going into season 7. You don't bring Morgan over for nothing. He's the star of the show. He's the main focus of the show. Some people like that. Some people don't like that. And I assume that Fear the Walking Dead, I don't know the exact numbers. I think last week it had just over 1 million views, million viewers on AMC. But I think AMC Plus is definitely hurting the numbers for AMC viewership on Sunday, because if it comes out on Thursday, I'm not watching it on Sunday. I'm watching it before Sunday. I'm still watching it, but I'm not watching it in those numbers. And if AMC Plus and Premiere and whoever they're getting it, if they're getting that money, who cares? The viewership numbers don't matter. So, like, people make a big deal about the viewers and this. Well, Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 is one of the highest rated seasons in the Walking Dead universe as of right now, per IMDb, I believe. It's definitely up there in the top 3, maybe even top, I think it's top 3. So I don't know how many votes there are. If there's like 10 people voting and they love it, it's going to be up there. Maybe we'll see we'll have to see how the season goes. There's still several episodes left. So I don't know. I don't really care about reviews and just how critics and what they say. I don't care about that stuff. Like, if people like a movie and I don't have any interest in it, I usually don't watch that movie. But if I have an interest in it and the reviewers are like, yeah, I don't like it, and the critics are saying this and they're saying that, I don't care. I still watch it. It makes no difference to me too. If I'm interested in it, I watch it, and I don't get biased by the reviews and the critics anyway. It just shows me that I care about the stuff, and that's just what I watch and what I'm thinking of it too. So recently, I watched the episode, of course. I've watched, my wife and I are watching The Mighty Ducks Game Changers on Disney Plus, because we grew up watching The Mighty Ducks, and it's an awesome thing to see the callbacks. We've also watched a movie on Netflix called The Mitchells versus the Machines. It's an animated movie that has and a bunch of different actors as the voiceover people and the voice actors, and it's a great movie. I was cracking up. It's not the world's best movie by any means, but it's a fun, silly, over-the-top action comedy stuff that's worth watching on Netflix. And overall, it's something we need to watch there too. You know, I like different shows, different movies, different stuff. So I do like the idea of watching different things that haven't been done before. And The Mitchells versus the Machines is a movie that I definitely recommend on Netflix. This week, I'm excited to watch Those Who Wish Me Dead on AMC Plus. That's the Angelina Jolie movie. It's about like firefighters or fires in, I think, California. I'm not sure exactly where, but John Bernthal is in there. John Bernthal played Shane on The Walking Dead, so anytime it's good to see some Walking Dead alumni in a movie, I like John Bernthal for sure. So John Bernthal is in that movie. I'll watch that this week. And then the following week, the 21st, is The Army of the Dead on Netflix. Zack Snyder's zombie apocalypse story that was filmed in parts of New Jersey, New Mexico, Czech Republic, and Las Vegas, of course. Dave Bautista picked that movie over James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2, in part due to the paycheck he was getting for it. He was making a lot of money filming Army of the Dead, so I would assume that he's going to be in that movie, pretty much the main focus of it. So if you're getting paid a lot of money for it, a lot of the budget's going there. Typically, it's there too. Did anybody bring up the movie? Let me see. I see Jeannie says Strand was in the movie we watched last night. So the movie I watched a week or two ago, it's the movie on Amazon Prime with Michael B. Jordan, Without Remorse, I believe it's called. It's a Tom Clancy novel. And Strand is in there. It's a very minimal role for Strand. It focuses mainly on Michael B. Jordan, who I like a lot. I think he's a great actor. But Tom Clancy's book that's turned into a movie. And it's pretty good. It's a good action movie. It's a military movie, and there's always different things in it. And I watched it. I think it came out a week or so ago, and we watched it then on Amazon. And it's a good movie. Michael B. Jordan does a good job. The story is good. The acting's good, and it's definitely worth watching. But Strand's in it. So again, anytime you see Walking Dead universe people in there, you're like, Strand, Alicia, Morgan, Rick. We're still waiting on Rick. So the other thing I want to bring up before I talk about the episode is the Rick Grimes movie, right? So I don't know if you guys know, people are still filming shows and movies now. And with COVID precautions getting less and less and less, well, I don't know about precautions, but COVID cases going less and less and less, precautions should still remain high, especially around a lot of people on set. And you can still catch COVID even after vaccination. But ultimately, they're filming movies and shows in Georgia. They're filming Black Adam with The Rock. They're filming different shows and different stuff. They're filming stuff. So I don't want to hear they can't film the Rick Grimes movie because of COVID. They're not filming the Rick Grimes movie because they're not filming the Rick Grimes movie, right? They're choosing not to do it. Then I had someone on Facebook send me a message to say that Andrew Lincoln signed on to do something in the like a play or something. And I don't know if that's starting now or down the road in the fall, if he's going to do that first and then the movie. I don't know how long the play is going to be or something. He looked to be signing on to something else. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if he picks something else, it's like another, commitment besides the Rick Grimes movie. So I watched a thing briefly. Robert Kirkman was interviewed by Entertainment Weekly or something, Entertainment Tonight. So he did some Zoom interview, and they talked about Invincible, and they're going to get a season 2 and a season 3 on Amazon, and doing this and doing that. And the guy asked, "Can you tell us anything about the Rick Grimes movie?" He was like, "No, I can't tell you anything." So he didn't say anything about it. So they're still continuing to drag their feet. The script, the movie, the production, whatever it's going to be. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be like, you know what today is? We're starting to film the day today. We're filming the first movie today. Today's the first day of production. I hope they will. I don't think they will, but I think they should. It would be really great to say, the Rick Grimes movie is underway. We're starting today, or we're starting on Monday, or we're starting June 5th, or whatever it is, right? That's just an arbitrary day. Don't quote me on that. I'm just picking an arbitrary day for it, too. So Jeff Brooks says, I wonder if the Rick Grimes movie will be filmed secretly. I feel like the Breaking Bad movie was completed in secret and then announced for Netflix release in 2019. They could. And frankly, they should. Because it would be a great surprise that we get a trailer for the Rick Grimes movie and we're like, I had no idea they filmed. That would be a great surprise. But if Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, shows up in Georgia and people see him, they're taking pictures. If he shows up in downtown Sonoy, they're taking pictures. Albuquerque, New Mexico is not Atlanta, Sonoy, Georgia. I don't think it's the same when you film in New Mexico versus Georgia. I don't think it's the same, but also they filmed it in secret because they could. The people of Albuquerque were probably told to keep it a secret, and maybe they signed stuff, and ultimately they did. And I'm glad for it. I liked El Camino, and I liked how they did it, but I don't know if that's possible, plausible, but I just think if they wanted to start filming the movie, they could and they should. Then they say, oh, UK is still, blocked down, and it's this, and they can't get out. Well, you can fly there privately, and you can leave the state or the country privately in a private jet. And if he's going to sign up for a play or whatever, he can do that and film. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, they're really pushing it, super extending it unnecessarily, in my opinion. Unless stuff fell through, they don't know what they're doing. They're afraid of making the movie because they're afraid that it took so long. They're kind of like paralyzed by fear. They're like, well, what about this and the fans this and the story this and that? It's so many things. I don't know. So I don't know why they could do it. So let me see. Beaver says, agree to disagree, mostly pointing out that I doubt COVID is why they aren't filming right now. Yeah, I don't think it's COVID. I think it's production, script, just other stuff beside COVID, because you could film stuff, and people are, and people have been. They were filming last year. The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond have been filming since March, or since February and March. So you can film. So we'll have to see what happens, and we're coming up into the middle of May, and I don't know if their plan was May, June, July, because they said spring. So I don't know what the first day of summer is. If it's June, if it's the end of May, I haven't checked the calendar, but before you know it, it'll be the end of May. It'll be June, and then we'll be in the summer. Because I think the summer months are June, July, and August. And it's not like, oh, they said spring, so they got to do it. But ultimately, I just hope they start filming, nonetheless, and we can get some information and be like, okay, it's underway. Because a movie typically takes 3 months to film. So if it's June, July, and August, then I would assume it's probably 3-4 months to do post-production and where they want to put here and how they want to do this. So probably at earliest, it would be next January at the earliest for the Rick Grimes movie. If not, December would be awesome. But I don't know, because how they're going to fit stuff in and how's it going to go down, I don't know how it fits with the schedule of The Walking Dead and then World Beyond, the deep water submarine thing for Fear the Walking Dead season 7, because World Beyond is only 10 more episodes. Season 2 is only 10 more episodes, and then that show's going to be done. And I still think that's the plan for October. That's the October release show. But we just don't know. It's all speculation right now, but I feel like we've been waiting forever. It's just like Rick Grimes has gone away since season 9, episode 5. We've had 22 episodes of season 10, plus the other 11 of season 9 that Rick wasn't in. So that's 33 episodes without Rick. And we've saw his boots and the etching on the glass and, little glimpses of people talking about him and stuff. So he's been mentioned. He's gone but not forgotten. But it just feels like it's been forever. So then we're going to wrap Fear the Walking Dead season 6 and then The World Beyond season 2. And it's like, man, we've had all these shows since Rick went away. And to me, Rick Grimes is not the end-all, be-all of the Walking Dead universe, but he's a big part. He's a huge part of it. I can't wait to see what they do. Hope it lives up to all this hype and all this stuff and all this, waiting. So we'll have to see, but, we'll see how it goes down. So we're approaching the 30-minute mark for the last half hour of the live stream. I'll give you a book update. I have 8 more chapters left to do my final review of book 14, which will be titled Revenge. My wife has the last chapter to do for her edit, and then I'm going to finish my eight chapters. It's coming together really nicely. I'm going to take my time with the final edit to have it out, but I'm still hoping for a May release, and I think we're still on track to do that. I have the cover, the preliminary cover made, and the front and the back cover, and then I got to send away for the proof. It usually takes a couple of days, and then I'll get it, and we'll see. And then if it all goes well, we'll get it out to you guys on Amazon, and then on Kindle for the Kindle version and the paperback version for it. But it'll be book 14, Revenge, and I'm really excited to get it out there too. So let's get started on season 6, episode 12, titled In Dreams. So ultimately, spoiler warning for Fear the Walking Dead on there too. Banak John says, Rick is the show. Well, Rick hasn't been away. Rick's been off the show since season 9, episode 5, and the show continued on with him. So I see what you're saying. Rick is the show, but he's not the show. He's part of the show. If it was the Rick Grimes show, it'd be like The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes. Rick Grimes, The Walking Dead. It's The Walking Dead. Rick Grimes is the main part and the main focus, but I see what you're saying, but he's not the end-all, be-all, clearly, because other stuff has existed without Rick, and it will. We'll continue for that. So season 6, episode 12 is titled In Dreams, and it focuses a lot on Grace and her dream unconscious state that she's in. We see her wake up in a leaf-filled path, street, grass, I don't know, wherever she's at, but she's passed out. She wakes up. There's all these purple, fuchsia-colored flowers, leaves, petals, whatever. The coloring it's beautiful, but you can tell the dream state from the real state, obviously. And excuse me, Grace is the focus of the episode. You see Grace and Morgan and Riley and his group, but then you also see like glimpses of a future, not the future. It's a future too. So Grace wakes up. A walker is about to bite her. She pushes it off. The arm breaks off. It's pretty awesome. And then whoosh, this, I don't even know what it is. A javelin pole or something. I don't know what it is, but it's a weapon that a woman is using. I guess a 16-year-old woman, a young woman. Her name turns out to be Athena. She saves Grace, kills all these walkers. Grace gets up. She notices that she's not pregnant anymore. Then Athena takes Grace back to her community because her dad's going to be pissed that she was out of the safe zone. She's in a walker zone, and she takes Grace back, and it's Morgan's community. They have higher walls. They have a blockout point. They have different entrance, and she goes back, and we see Morgan. He's got the gray hair, the gray beard, looking like Morgan Jones Freeman, looking like Morgan Jones. So we see Grace. She's like, Morgan? And Morgan's like, do I know you? And then you're like, whoa, what's going on here, right? Because Grace and Morgan should know each other. They definitely should know each other, right? So Grace gets taken into the community, and we see, Dwight and Sherry have 2 kids. One of them is named John, which I believe is Dwight's, Austin Emilio's real son, is what people are saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but I could see that. And then we see Strand and Daniel. Daniel is cutting Strand's hair, and everybody's older, right? Except Grace. And then we go to Grace's grave, and it says Grace, I don't know how to say her name. It's like Mukherjee or something is her last name. And there's a headstone with some candles on it. And, Morgan's like, Grace says, I'm Grace. Morgan's like, I don't know what you're trying to pull, but, you got to stop right now. Morgan's like, my memory is not as good as it used to be. So we find out that Grace died during childbirth, but Athena survived. And Athena is Grace's child. Grace thought she was having a boy, but she had a girl named Athena. We see June, and we see an older Charlie, They look over Grace. She doesn't have any concussions or head trauma or anything too. And it's kind of cool to see the cast older. You see a time jump, 16 years later, I guess, because that's how Athena says she's 16 years old. Morgan is told to get the tomato seeds because they want to plant the tomatoes. Dwight's basically a farmer with Sherry, and they have 2 kids, and everybody's together. And Morgan says that everybody came together when Athena was born. Athena was the glue that brought everybody together. So Grace doesn't want to tell Athena that she's her mother, but Morgan comes up with an idea that you don't have to. Let's go out on a trip to go get the seeds. So Grace, Morgan, and Athena all go out. Athena's rocking a red shirt the entire episode. You know what that means. Potentially, it's only a theory. She also has an orange backpack, so that's a double whammy in my opinion. So Grace is trying to figure out what's going on here. They're walking in the woods. They see a car, a nice Cadillac, and it says "The End" on one side, "Is the" on the hood, and "Beginning" on the other side. Grace remembers that she saw this car, and then boom, it blows up. And she flies back. Then she starts to remember stuff like, wait a second, I saw this, and that happened. So basically, this is all a dream up to this point. Grace figures out that something's not right, and then we see like glimpses of present day Morgan and Grace. They're in a veterinary hospital in the barn section, the stables of it. So Grace is passed out. She's having contractions. She's not doing well. Morgan gets on the radio, calls June, and they try to figure out who, June wants to know who attacked them, and Morgan's like, it doesn't matter. Grace is not doing well. June's going to be on her way, but it's going to take her about 5 hours to get there. So I don't know how much time is going to go by in this episode, but we don't see June get there. But it's important because June could save the baby, help Grace, help things out in the situation. But we don't see that. But she's on the way. So I hope next episode she's on the way for that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So Riley and his 4 group of, the Blue Man group, because they're all wearing blue, they find Morgan. They shoot out the window, or shoot out part of the glass in the window and a door. They kill the walkers around there too. And then it goes between like dream state, real state, dream state, real state, dream state, real state. So then it comes out that Morgan goes away in the dream state, and it's just Athena and Grace. So it's basically Grace is trying to figure out what's going on. Athena has the radio tape recorder that Grace had, and she was using to, leave messages for the baby. And Athena's like, you can't touch it. It's the only thing my mom ever let me. So then eventually Grace gets the tape recorder. She puts it on, and she hears stuff like Morgan having the conversation because she's wearing the headphones in the real state, in the real time state. So she kind of remembers, what's going on a little bit more and more and more and more and more. There's a lot of callbacks to prior seasons of Fear the Walking Dead. There's also a nice callback to Rick and the White Horse. You see all these different things coming up. It kind of makes sense. It's a little annoying, but overall, it's a good episode for story. And you see Riley and his group going after Athena and Grace. Grace, is about to get stabbed by Riley in the dream state, and she pushes up the knife and kills Riley. But Riley doesn't die. He does in the multiple times in the dream state, but he comes back as a walker. It's really creepy and gross and freaky that he's talking, and it's just in the dream state. So I'm not buying too much into the dream state of what we're seeing is okay, so we saw an older Daniel and an older Strand and an older June and an older Charlie and Dwight and Sherry. And Alicia is mentioned by Morgan that she went back to the stadium to fix it, improve it, start her own group. Luciana and Wes went with her. So Luciana, Wes, and Alicia should go back to the stadium per the dream. But I don't know. Sarah's not mentioned. Wendell's not mentioned. The kids aren't mentioned. So is that something or is that nothing? But also Athena is clearly seen in the dream, but at the end of the episode, she isn't breathing. She's dead. So I don't know if it's a stillborn, if she died because of the radiation, but she dies in real life, but she's very much alive in the dream. Grace is dead in the dream, besides her there, and she's alive in real life. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it, and that's what somebody was asking before. I don't know if it's going to give away that Alicia's going to go to the stadium. Strand and Daniel are going to be okay. Morgan's going to have this great community and it's going to do big things. They're going to put up walls around it. I just don't know. It's like a what if scenario. I don't think it's giving us the actual portrayal of the future, what's definitely going to happen. I think it's the what if scenario more than anything. But basically, Morgan is trying to bring Grace out of the unconsciousness, wake her up, but it's not working. It's not happening. So he barricades the doors and barricades things, and he hides more in the barn and the stables. He puts Grace in a wheelbarrow and pushes her in one of the stables and hides her there too. Then in the dream state, it's Althea and Grace. They come across Riley's group again. They, fight them again. They do this. They're walking and walking and walking. They get on a white horse that comes out of nowhere. They ride it. They go past a walker that's in the hazmat stuff, the radioactive suit that she's wearing that's trapped in a car. They're walking down like the middle of the road with the yellow stripes or the lines down the road with these silver cars. They come to the barn, the stables, the veterinary hospital where Grace is in, the real life state. So they get there. You also see a walker that's reaching for one of the bird boxes, and the walker doesn't even care that they're there. Before that, Athena is told by Grace that she's her mom. They have a nice bonding moment. They talk about things. And basically it's, Grace telling Athena that, I probably won't survive this. So we think that Grace is going to die the entire time, even though I just spoiled the ending previously. But a lot of the time you think Grace is going to die. But she has to wake up to give birth to Athena. And then we think that she's going to die during childbirth, which is common. It could definitely happen, kind of like Lori, right? So instead, Lori dies and Judith lives. In the episode, Grace lives and Athena dies. The baby dies. So I don't know. Hopefully sorry for the little lagging and the upload speed kind of died on me here. We're struggling with that, so hopefully it's not too bad with it. I know that I'm kind of circling here, so hopefully it wasn't too much of a lag there. I apologize for that. But so Grace and Athena are in the barn, the stables of the veterinary hospital that they're at. Then we see Riley, who's a walker now, but he's talking. And then the walker that was reaching for the bird box, they go and they come after Athena and Grace. They fight them off. They, kill Riley a bunch of times. But then in the real-time state, it's Morgan who fights off Riley and the group with his stick. He doesn't have his axe. He has a different stick. At least I couldn't tell. It looks kind of different. It just looks like he uses, a different pointy stick, or it's just the pointy end. It's kind of hard to tell because he's moving so fast with it. He kills everybody, and he actually stabs Riley in the right side of the chest. And Riley, gets away, and he says, "You can't stop us." And Morgan says like the badass line, like, "I think I just did." And then Riley goes away and runs away. Morgan runs back to Grace, who's still unconscious, and he tries to be there for her and do all this. Meanwhile, we go back to the dream state. Older Morgan, gray-haired Morgan comes in and kills Riley because now Athena has the key around her neck, and that's what Riley wants, the key that's most likely for the submarine. Then Morgan comes and helps Grace up off the ground because she kind of passed out in the dream state. She says, "He's here for me." Morgan helps her up, and they talk. Then we see the white light at the barn doors where the white horse was at. So Grace knows she has to walk into the white light. So we still think that Grace is going to die because she's going to walk into the white light, which kind of means death, right? But they have their goodbyes. They say their goodbyes on there, this and that. We see the key closer. It clearly says do not duplicate. It's definitely a longer key. It's just not a regular key that you could buy at like a Home Depot or Lowe's or something there too. And I know somebody say, why can't they just make a copy of the key? Well, it looks to be a pretty specific key for it, and I don't think you could just make a copy so easily, especially if it's going to launch missiles or nukes or whatever from the submarine. So Grace is saying her goodbyes in the dream state. She walks into the light. She wakes up. But before that, Morgan is doing CPR in the real-time state, and it's really sad. he says, you know, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. You know, you just feel for Morgan. He's trying to, which has got to be really stressful to be doing CPR on a pregnant woman who's not breathing or barely breathing, having a minimal pulse. Like, she wasn't doing well. So she wakes up and she's got like kind of dirt and like kind of burn marks, not like burn marks, but like kind of ash and stuff on her from the car that blew up. So I don't know why she was walking by the car, but she was, and that was the car that blew up. So she looks to be in rough shape, and she and Morgan talk, and Morgan kind of figures out like what was going on she says that she talks about she had a daughter named Athena, that it's not a boy, it's a girl, and that she doesn't survive childbirth. And she says everything that she saw in the dream state. So she is, given the radio, the tape recorder, and she's recording things to Athena because she thinks she's not going to make it. So time goes by from when June is called on the radio, Morgan wakes up, or Grace wakes up, so June could get there next episode. And I hope she does, and I hope she saves the baby, because again, I told you that the baby dies. Or the baby's not breathing, and the baby, the way the showrunner wrote it, I don't know if it's Chambliss or Goldberg. I'm not sure which one was actually talking after the end of the episode. But the way he makes it sound is that Grace's baby died because of the radiation. So I don't know if you can save the baby. It's just wishful thinking that June can do something. But Grace was hoping that she took the radiation and the baby would be okay. But she always thought that the radiation from the nuclear power plant could hurt and harm the baby. And so she did. So that's what we're looking at and we're thinking at there too. But before that, Grace is, still having contractions, and she's going to deliver the baby. But before that, there's a truck sound, and it crashes right into the barn doors, come flying in. Riley comes back, and now he's got a gun, and he points it at Morgan. He points it with the same arm, in the right arm, where he was stabbed in the right chest part, his right pectoral muscle. And he's pointing the gun at him like he's fine. He had a wooden spear stabbed in him. But either way, he's pointing his gun at Morgan. Morgan's like, what? Whoa, what are you doing right there too? So Morgan says, I'm not going to give you the key, but that's what Riley wants. Riley wants the key around his neck. Grace sees the key around Morgan's neck, and she knows from the dream state that that's what Riley wants. And that's the price of peace, or that's the key to peace, or something. She says something about keeping the peace, and the key is what it is. And so Grace says, give him the key. He's already lost. He doesn't know it. He knows that the key is not the key. Athena is the key. And this time Riley has the gun pointed at Grace. So if Grace dies, there's no chance of the baby being born. And Grace really, truly feels that Athena is the key for the future of the group. Everybody comes together because of her birth. You see that in the dream state, and that's what Grace truly believes. So Riley says, give me the key and I'll walk away. I'll leave you guys alone. Just give me the key. Grace yells at Morgan, just do it. Give him the key. Do it. Morgan reluctantly takes the key off and gives it to Riley. Riley just leaves, gets in the truck, backs away, and it's gone. So Riley has the key now. So Riley has the key. I would assume Teddy has the other key, and they're going to go to the nuke in an upcoming episode. So I can't wait to see how that goes down. But Morgan, Grace, they're still in the barn all alone, or in the stable. I keep calling it a barn. I think it's a barn either way. The stables. And Grace is having contractions. They're having the music is playing through the headphones. It's a Roy Orbison song called In Dreams. The title of the episode is In Dreams. You see it again. So again, the title of the episode is a song title of an artist that's played in the episode. They had it before with the Traveling Wilburys. Now they have it here with a Roy Orbison song. And I think someone said before in a different comment that the Roy Orbison song is played in a different episode too. So they love Roy Orbison evidently. So you think like, okay, Grace is having a baby. Morgan's going to deliver it. Everything's going to be good. The baby's delivered. Morgan's face goes from like a smile to concern. He takes the baby away, turns, and Grace is like, Morgan, what's wrong? Morgan. And you see Morgan doing child CPR on the baby's chest and trying to wake it up. The baby's not crying. The baby's not alive. The baby's not doing well. But my question is too, if it's a stillborn baby, or did the baby die because of the lack of oxygen that Grace wasn't breathing or whatever she was doing during her dream state? But the baby had a pulse before that. We saw that with the heart or the baby monitor and stuff that we the fetal monitor. So we saw that stuff previously in an episode that happened pretty recently. So I would assume that the baby was okay up to this point. So I'm holding out hope that the baby can survive. But Morgan, the baby's not breathing. Grace wants to hold the baby. Morgan hands the baby there, and we see part of the umbilical cord, and we see this, and Morgan starts to get upset, and he's like, I don't understand. I don't understand what happened here. You know, what's going on? And Grace is crying, and Grace says, my dream wasn't my last moments together. It was the baby's. So she was seeing Athena's last memories before she died. So we're to assume that the baby doesn't live. And because it's not breathing, not crying, not showing, any signs of life. And that's how the episode ends, with a pan out view of Morgan and Grace in one of the stables. And then if you watch the behind the scene the inside the episode with the writer, I think it's Chambliss, that he said that Grace was always worried about the baby taking the radiation. And also in the dream state, you see Matthew, who's the biological father. You see Matthew before he turned into a walker inside the radiations. You know, you see that in the different, post or the different shots of Grace, what she saw of the baby or the father and everything there too. So we find out the father is Matthew, who died clearly from, the radiation and stuff from the nuclear power plant. But the showrunner clearly said that Grace was worried about the radiation killing the baby or going to the baby, and that looks to what happened. So if the radiation killed the baby, there's no saving the baby. But if the baby just needs oxygen and needs CPR and needs something, June can possibly save the baby. So I'm holding out hope that June saved the baby, and it's really sad that this is happening on Mother's Day. Like Grace was a mom and she lost a baby on Mother's Day. And it's like a tough episode because it's tough to watch that, like it's a sensitive topic and sensitive, thing about childbirth and a baby dying and, what happened where, it's definitely different than Lori when Lori died. Judith lived, and here it's like reversed. So Athena died and Grace lived. But I still think Grace is sick from the radiation. I mean, so if we're really going to lose the baby and Grace, so I don't know. And I like the name Athena. I mean, from the Greek mythology. So it fits in a way. And Athena was kind of a badass. She was taught by Morgan. She was, Grace's child, but also taught by Morgan. And it would be nice to have Morgan to be involved with the child because he lost Dwayne and, so I don't know. And Rob K asked the question that it says, could the stillborn Athena turn? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get that like Dawn of the Dead style baby that's dead turned into a walker. I don't know. A zombie. I don't know if that's where they're going with it, but I don't think so. That would be so tough too, to like have to put down a baby before it turned into a walker. Like, I don't know. I know it's fictional and it's not a real thing, but it's like, man, that's what happens in the episode. So you're like, man, that would just be kind of weird writing that script and writing this episode. It'd be tough to kind of write that if the baby wasn't going to be saved. Now, if I knew the baby, like I'm an author, Fight for Us is my book series, so I put myself in a mindset of writing. Like, I wouldn't have a hard time writing this part if I knew that in my mind the baby would be saved in the next chapter, or I guess in the next chapter, or in the next moments after the baby was discovered to not be breathing. I'm like, okay, we think the baby's not going to make it, and everyone's sad and upset about seeing the baby not breathe, and what can be done, and someone starts doing chest compressions on the child CPR, and people are panicking and up there too. But all of a sudden the baby wakes up and they hear the child cry and everyone starts cheering and happy and the baby survives, like, I don't know, just thinking like that would be okay. But you have to put these things in stories. You have to have big moments for, I think that, I don't know. It's just tough to put yourself in the shoes of writing it. And, when I write stuff, I visualize the characters of things happening, and they mean a lot to me on there too. And, I broke down writing stuff. And, if I'm not breaking down writing it, the reader's not going to break down writing it there too, reading it themselves. So it's just an emotional thing that's there. And that's the episode. So we'll have to see what happens. The following episode, I believe, is titled JD. And in one of my videos, I was like, oh, JD, John Dory, right? But I was like, duh, June Dory. JD is June Dory, even though JD could be a reference to John Dory, and hopefully we see a flashback of John with June, and June remembers John or something. But JD is June Dory, just like John Dory too. So in one of my upcoming videos, we'll talk about that too. So yeah, it's a tough episode, but it's a good episode. The dream stuff is kind of ridiculous in a way, but it makes sense to me in a way that I bought into it. I can't wait to talk about the Easter eggs that we saw in relation to Fear the Walking Dead, but also The Walking Dead 2. And yeah, it's a tough episode to watch, but overall it's a good episode. And I can't remember. I think the only other time I actually cried watching The Walking Dead was in season 7, episode 1, when Maggie, with Glenn and Maggie and everything, that just was so sad. And it was supposed to be. And when Morgan was, upset trying to save Grace, and then when the baby's not, breathing and stuff, it's sad to watch that too. And, I just know people deal with that in real life on a regular basis. And I know friends of mine and family that have had to deal with that regular, and I put myself in their shoes too. So, and, I've had some recent news about a family member of my wife's, and it turned out not to be good stuff. So we got to be thankful for what we do have. Great community, great friends, great family, great fandom, and take it in stride for what you do have. I know stuff is still tough for a lot of people out there, and we do have our ups and downs and all arounds. But if we can have an attitude of gratitude and just think of things in a positive light and reflect things in a positive way, it makes things easier, and everything happens for a reason. Sometimes we don't understand the reason till later on in life, or sometimes we never do. That's a part of life. But I have an idea that it's part of a bigger picture for us to learn things and stuff there too. And I know it's only a fictional universe and a fictional show, but sometimes stuff in fiction, art imitates life, and life imitates art. And so you start to think of it as, wow, people have to deal with some of this stuff in real life, and not a zombie apocalypse, but take the zombies out of the equation, and you do have to deal with stuff like physical and mental abuse, loss, losing a loved one. It happens, and mental illness is a real thing. And so, you put yourself in the shoes of that and talk about things in a way, and we grow from things, and it's a part of that too. So yeah, it's a good episode. It's some tough moments to see, and it brought up the emotion, and it's good. It's a good thing. It's tough to watch that with the baby, being born, but it's a part of it. And I do respect when they put this stuff in shows, because they do have that real life aspect to it. And that was a big thing that really brought me into the world of Walking Dead, is like, okay, Walking Dead, zombie apocalypse, fictional, but what would you do in the zombie apocalypse state? What would you do here? What would you do there? And there's stuff on there too. So Jen says that, Brian, waiting on my magnets and so excited for them. Yeah, I got those out in the mail on Friday. So I don't know how long it's going to take to get to you, but I would assume it should be this week. And so it'll be coming in a regular envelope, Jen. And I got the 3 magnets in there too. Thank you for the purchase and reaching out for me there too. So if you're interested in different magnets, any of the stuff I have on my Instagram, I work out different things, and I put the shipping cost in the price, so it's not like this and then plus a shipping. I just give you a total price through PayPal. I have a couple different things for in the hopper for different ideas. I do make somewhat custom magnets, but they are kind of a thin magnet for it too. So I'll just show you an example. I'm sure you guys have seen it if you've been here before, but let's see. So like this one. So like they're this size, this is, a regular I'm Negan for it. But yeah, we have different designs, different things. And I try to get them in a regular envelope for it, but it's pretty cool stuff. So I'm excited to, excuse me. And then the other fighter, this is my fighter magnet that really started all this, and it's purple because of the pancreatic cancer, Crohn's disease, digestive stuff, just a bunch of different colors are for that. So my fighter magnet is what started for me. And yeah, I usually been putting these down for like $2 with, included in the shipping with it. So, it means a lot to me, the purple magnet for it. So you could put like, Survivor for different stuff. But I think Fighter is better because the Survivor, in my mind, is like I still kept alive. Fighting it just means like I'm being proactive. Like I'm doing this. I had a bad beat and something came my way, but I'm going to fight against this. I'm going to be proactive for it. And it's not a knock on Survivor on there too, but to me, I just like I'm putting a little more stuff in my hands and I'm still trying to get it done. So yeah, those are a couple things in there. Let me know if you're interested in it. Hit me on Instagram at the PT channel, Facebook at the PT channel. We have a Facebook group and a page, the TWD community, or just my own personal Facebook page or group on there too. So thank you guys. I truly appreciate you guys being here. So I'll be back next Sunday. I'll have to check with my wife because, like I said, we had some bad news about a loved one in her family. So I don't know if we're going to have to go to South Florida for a funeral or anything. So I don't know what it is, but I plan to be back next Sunday for it. If not, I'll post a message on Instagram or I can post on YouTube about it. Like I won't be able to do one. I'll let you guys know, but I'll be planning to be here next Sunday. So thank you guys. And remember, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve things in this life. It takes time. It takes time to do big things in life, but you can get things done. I know we want things done yesterday, but prepare, achieve, rise, grind, and achieve. You can break it down. You can do it. Just take the time to get it done right. Thank you guys. I truly appreciate it. I'll be back next Sunday. Enjoy tonight's episode. If you haven't seen it, I'll be posting multiple videos this week, a bunch of different things that I can't wait to share, episode titles, synopsis, some clues, potentially, theories, breakdowns, discussion. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you guys.